Hey, welcome to this week's episode of English Vocabulary with me, Teacher Tiffany. This week, we are going to be diving into a topic. The topic is energy storage, and I'm going to be teaching you 5 new terms related to this topic. So, are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. All right, our very first term is intermittent. Good. Again, intermittent. Excellent. Last time after me. Intermittent. Great job. Now the question is, what does this term intermittent actually mean? So, intermittent just means not continuous or happening at irregular intervals. Again, not continuous, happening at irregular intervals. For example, some people do intermittent fasting. It means it's not continuous, but there are certain intervals. Maybe they will fast from 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. the next day. Again, intermittent just means not continuous or happening at irregular intervals. Now, I want us to check out this first example sentence. Here's the sentence. Solar and wind energy are intermittent sources of power. Again, solar and wind energy are intermittent sources of power. Why? Think about it. If you want solar power, the sun has to be out for your, let's say you're using a solar powered battery. You need to sit that battery out during the day so the sun can provide it with the power it needs. Again, intermittent, happening at irregular intervals. Now I want to give you 3 example situations in which you can use this term intermittent. So the very first one is phone service in rural areas. I want you to think about your cell phone. Now, you probably use your cell phone on a regular basis, so throughout the day. But if you go to a rural area, an area with lots of trees, not a lot of signal, that means your cell signal will come and go. Sometimes you'll be able to make a call, and other times while you're in the rural area, you'll notice that you have no bars, no connection, or no signal. Let's say you're visiting your grandparents and they live on a farm in the rural area. So, phone service can be intermittent in rural areas. Then we have an old car trying to start. So think about this. Maybe you have a vintage car and sometimes the car refuses to start. Maybe on a cold morning, you go to start the car, but it won't start. It requires multiple attempts before the engine turns over. So you have intermittent old car starting problems. Now, these 2 situations are situations you can understand. What about this one? Seasonal allergies. Now, I want you to think about this. Every spring, you have the bees buzzing and the birds chirping, but you also have pollen. And during this season of spring, you experience sneezing fits. You're sneezing all the time. Or your sister and brother and mother and father, who also have allergies, experience sneezing as well, but it comes and goes throughout the day. So one person sneezes all day while others are sneezing maybe in the morning and then maybe in the evening. Again, it all depends on the amount of pollen in the air. So we say seasonal allergies can be intermittent. Makes sense, right? So again, for number 1, we have intermittent. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 after me, the second word related to this topic. The word is grid. Good. Again, grid. Excellent. Last time after me, grid. Very good. Now the question is, what does this term grid actually mean? So a grid refers to A network of interconnected lines and stations for the transmission and distribution of electricity. Again, a network of interconnected lines and stations for the transmission and distribution of electricity. I remember when I lived in South Korea and I would walk to my apartment and I would see all of these power lines above me. Even where you live, maybe you've seen these power lines, right? They're connected to a grid. If you want to have power, I have a light shining on me right now in my studio. Well, this light is connected to a source, and that source is also connected to a grid. Again, a grid just being a network of, yes, interconnected lines and stations for the transmission and distribution of electricity. Now, check out this example sentence. The power outage affected the entire electrical grid. The power outage affected the entire electrical grid. We're all connected to a grid if we're getting electricity like from the state or the city that you live in. Now, I want to give you 3 example situations in which you can use this term. The first one, storm preparedness. I want you to think about hurricane season, maybe in Florida, right? And there are lots of hurricanes. And when the hurricanes come, sometimes the grid is knocked off. So you purchase a generator just in case your neighborhood, your home loses power or loses connection to the electrical grid. This is a situation in which you can speak about the grid. The second situation is living in a remote cabin. I want you to think about a mountain retreat, and this mountain retreat relies on solar panels, meaning it gets its energy from the sun. The electricity is used or actually produced from the solar panels, which get their energy from the sun. Why? Because the remote cabin is too far from the main power. Yes, the main power grid. So the individuals living at this remote cabin use solar power. And then our third situation, again, speaking about this term, the grid, is summer brownouts. Now, this is a term that's not commonly used per se, so let me explain it. So during extreme heat waves, let's say heat waves, all right? So let's say you have an extreme heat wave in the summer. In this period, the utility company might ask residents, people living in the area, hey, can you reduce the amount of electricity you're using because we don't want to overload the grid. We don't want more people losing power because of the overload, right? Maybe during a heat wave, it will affect the grid. Makes sense, right? So again, our second term is grid. Now, the third term is capacity. Good. Again, after me, capacity. Excellent. Last time after me, capacity. Great job. Now the question is, what does this term capacity actually mean? It just refers to the maximum amount that something can contain. The maximum amount. So if we're going to someone's event and they've rented out a space, maybe a building or a room, and they found out, hey, in order for us to have an event here, we have to make sure that only 100 people come. The capacity, the room capacity is 100. Again, the maximum amount that something can contain. All right, so check out this example sentence. The battery's capacity determines how long it can power a device. Again, the battery's capacity. So we understand this term, what it means. Now let me give you 3 situations in which you can use the term capacity. Here's the first one, a moving day dilemma. So I want you to think about this. You have rented a truck because you have so many things to move. And so you send your brother to go pick the truck up. You actually placed the order online, you paid for it online, he said, hey, can you go pick up the truck? But then when he comes back with the truck, you realized, wait a minute, this truck's capacity is not large enough to handle all the furniture that I have. We're going to have to get a larger truck. This truck's capacity is not enough for everything that we have. Makes sense, right? All right, here's the second situation. Your morning commute. I want you to think about taking the train to work. And it's about 8 a.m. So there are tons of people. This used to happen when I was in South Korea. Tons of people take the train. But because it's rush hour, the train is at its full capacity, making it very uncomfortable to stand for the entire journey. People are squeezing you in on the left and the right. The train is at its full capacity. You got it? And then our third situation is planning a family dinner. I want you to imagine that you're inviting all of your family members, mother, father, sister, brother, nieces, nephews, everyone's coming over. And then you realize that your refrigerator has a limited capacity, meaning that all of the food you need to buy in order to feed everyone, that food is not going to fit in your refrigerator because it has a limited capacity. So you have to figure out how to store the other food that you're going to be making. Makes sense, right? Yes. So once again, the third term is capacity. Now, our fourth term is efficiency. After me, efficiency. Excellent. Again, efficiency. Great job. Now, last time after me, efficiency. Excellent. All right. Now, what does this term efficiency actually mean? So this term efficiency means the ability to do something well, quickly, and without wasting time or energy. Key is, again, doing it well, but also quickly and without wasting any time or energy. Once again, after me, the pronunciation of the word efficiency. Very good. I want you to remember this word because it's very important. Again, doing things well, making sure you're able to do them well, but also doing them quickly, not wasting any time. I, as your English teacher, always try to be very efficient, doing things well and making sure I'm not wasting any time. So here's an example sentence. Improving energy efficiency can reduce electricity bills. Improving the way that you use your energy, improving the things that you're doing throughout the day so that you're not wasting any energy. Again, remember, our topic is energy storage. So you're trying to make sure that you are using the energy wisely and efficiently. All right. So let's check out some example situations in which you can use this term efficiency. The very first one is your homework routine. I want you to think about this. You have homework, maybe studying this lesson after. All right. So in order to be more efficient, right, you have to turn off social media notifications. Your cell phone, you can't have it ding, 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 dinging while you're trying to study. Turn off your notifications. Turn off all noise so that you can be more efficient. You want to study efficiently, right? This will improve your studying efficiency and allow you to complete your assignments in half the time. A second situation in which you can use this term efficiency is kitchen organization. Now, I love cooking and I know where everything is in my kitchen, so it makes me more efficient. So when you're arranging your cooking space, when you have it arranged in the way that you like, in the way that you are comfortable with, it will make you more efficient when you're preparing a meal. So in other words, it will increase your meal preparation efficiency, making your dinners less stressful. You're getting them done quickly and your family will be ready to eat. The third situation in which you can use this term efficiency is programming your thermostat. Now, I want you to think about your home. If it's freezing outside, you want it to be warm inside. If it's hot outside, you want it to be a bit cooler inside. So you have to set your thermostat, and maybe you have a smart thermostat. I almost had a tongue tie there. Maybe you have a smart, maybe you have a smart thermostat. So you have to adjust it automatically, or the smart thermostat adjusts automatically. So you say, hey, I want it to always be 72 degrees in my home. So the thermostat will adjust itself automatically, and this will improve your home's energy efficiency and reduce your utility bill. So this is the third situation in which you can use the term efficiency. Now I want us to go to our fifth term. Again, we're speaking about energy storage. Our fifth term is infrastructure. Good. Again, infrastructure. Excellent. Last time after me. Infrastructure. Great job. Now, what does this term infrastructure actually mean? So this term infrastructure means the basic physical and organizational structures and facilities needed for the operation of a society or enterprise. The key again, physical and organizational structures and facilities, right? What you need to actually make things run well. The infrastructure, all right? This infrastructure that will help things run well. So I want to check out the first example sentence because it will help you understand this term. Here we go. The country is investing in its energy infrastructure. Again, the country wants to use energy more efficiently, so it's going to set up an infrastructure for using the energy in a good way. All right? So let me explain three situations in which you can use this term. The first one, setting up your home internet. So your home network, true story, yesterday, 2 days ago actually, had to update my internet. I had to change my modem to get faster internet. So think about your home network infrastructure using the internet. So it includes a router, a modem, and Ethernet cables. These ensure a reliable connection throughout the house. So when I go into my living room, I still have the internet. When I go into my bedroom, I still have the internet. Why? Because my network, my home network infrastructure, router, modem, Ethernet cables has been set up properly or was set up properly. All right. So it can be physical and organizational structures. The second example situation is construction in a neighborhood. So I want you to think about this long process, right? They're doing road work on the streets in your neighborhood, and it's been going on for months. They have to take their time because underneath the street, they recognized that the infrastructure for the water system was old and they had to update it, right? So it's taking a long time for them to update the old water infrastructure. Before they came out, many pipes were breaking on a regular basis. So they had to come out to update the water infrastructure. Make sense? Yes. And our final situation is the challenges of a remote job. I want you to imagine moving to a small town. And moving to this small town means that you have to figure out what the local infrastructure is. Can it really support your work from home needs? In other words, you're moving to this small town and you're planning to work from home, but is the internet going to be good? Is the local infrastructure of that small town good? Can it support your work from home needs like high-speed internet? Makes sense, right? So again, this term is infrastructure. Infrastructure. Today we had a lot of tongue ties. All right. So again, today we had this topic, energy storage, and you learned 5 new terms. Don't forget, if you want to continue learning vocabulary with me every single day via email, totally for free, all you have to do is go to www.tiffani, www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com. Again, www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com. And I'll talk to you in the next lesson.